Hey there, good morning. Welcome to the JeepSolid garage. This is Sasha, and this is her 1997 Jeep Cherokee. It's got a leaky radiator, so we're gonna walk you through the process of how to replace a radiator on an XJ. This is Sasha's first vehicle, her first car, so she's learned how to do all the repairs. I'm gonna sit back, drink my coffee, watch her put a radiator in. Let's get started. It says fragile. It must be French. We'll link the new radiator for this XJ in the description below. So when we're out driving the XJ around, we notice that the radiator is leaking right along the seam, along the edge here. So it needs replacement. First thing I want you to do, Sasha, last time like we did, let's take the air box out because we need a little bit of extra room to be able to get to all the parts and pieces.
This video is proudly sponsored by Engine Tech. Check them out if you need anything for your engine. They have pistons, gaskets, timing chains, and much more.
Remember this fan? Mm-hmm. Go ahead and take that out. It's just these two top, I think they're 10 millimeter bolts, and disconnect the wire right here, and then the fan will just lift right out. And I was wrong, those two little bolts on the top there are 8 millimeter. All right, go ahead and pull off the overflow reservoir tube there. All right, now that fan will just kind of shimmy out of there. It just sits into a couple of slots down there, slides up and out. You just gotta kind of wrestle with it a little bit. Next, we're gonna drain the coolant, and we're gonna do that by disconnecting the lower radiator hose here off of the water pump down there, letting it drain straight down into a bucket. That's the easiest way. There is a petcock on these radiators. Here's our new radiator. Petcock's over here on the side, on the passenger side. It's just hard to get to, and it just kind of dribbles out of there, so quicker and easier is just disconnect that radiator hose. Yep, you got the bucket down there?
Yep.
I got the hose clamp off. Let's see if we can pull it off the water pump here.
Perfect.
And next, Sasha's taking off the fan shroud. Just one more little 8 millimeter bolt. You like working on cars?
Mm-hmm. It's very fun.
Why is it fun?
I don't know, it's just so like something that not many girls are taught, and I think it's kind of cool that I know it.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And then all the other guys you talk to, you talk car stuff with them, and they're impressed with what you know. All right, got that. Just kind of lift it out of the way there. There we go. All right, next let's take off this top bracket off the top of the radiator. It's all of these 10 millimeter, oops, yep, lose your 10 millimeter. It's all of these 10 millimeter bolts. There's about a dozen of them. All of those come off, and this part and this part lift off as one. We're gonna take this little piece off too, and these are Torx bit. All right, so let's get started on that. Yay, you did it! Okay, next, here's your wrench. You get to do your favorite part. That spring clamp right on that hose there.
No!
You need to take that guy off. One of your favorites.
I hate these clamps.
Why do you hate them?
They're so hard to get off.
Yeah, there can be a little bit of a booger. I don't like them either. But pinch that together, slide it back onto the hose, and pull that hose off. Good job.
Yay!
Actually made that look easy. It wasn't so bad, was it?
Mm-mm. It was actually pretty easy that time.
Okay, next let's work on the transmission lines. So this is the transmission cooler lines. We're just gonna get a wrench on that and remove that real quick. Break it loose. There you go. All right, there's the top transmission line, the bottom transmission line. We're gonna fight with that guy in a second here. Next, Sasha's removing these little brackets that attach the radiator to the condenser on the air conditioning. Because this is a Cherokee, the top doesn't come off, so she wants air conditioning, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, whatever. You should get a Wrangler. Alrighty, Sasha got those last little brackets swung up out of the way. So now it should kind of lift up out of the way a bit. We still have that one transmission line hooked up, but all I want to do is kind of tip this side up so we can get to that transmission line a little easier. There was one last little bolt on this line down here, hooked up to the bottom of the radiator. We got that off. Now we can start fighting. We got plenty of room to fight with this transmission line. You're gonna need a little kit like this to get this connection off. So it's like a pressure fitting. You gotta slide that plastic doohickey underneath that, kind of push this in and then pull it, get that plastic thing in all the way, and then that should pull off. It's a little bit of a fight, but let's get started. So after fighting with it for a bit, I decided just to unthread that and see if this will come off from the radiator here. Okay, this is a very frustrating, almost futile endeavor. So what we're gonna do, we're gonna go to plan B, no, actually C, and we're gonna shake it, do a little shimmy shimmy. A nice little thing just breaks off right there, and we're gonna take this line in the shop where we can fight with it a little bit easier. All right, there we go. This whole transmission line setup, this is just terrible. That's such a terrible idea. So we're gonna fight to get this out. I'm thinking that this removal tool, this isn't gonna work. From my understanding now, there's not little metal teeth in here like I thought that pinch down on it. So we're gonna see what we can do to wrestle this thing out. So after looking at this pretty darn close, there is no getting this out without totally destroying the line. So my recommendation, just this line is already in pretty bad shape. It doesn't look great. My recommendation, go ahead and order a new transmission line, have it on hand, and just replace this. They're not that expensive. I'm gonna look at just getting some high pressure line and eliminate this dumb connection right here. I don't know why they did that. That's just a terrible design. All right, we're back, and I think we got our problem resolved. So yeah, these little connectors, disconnects, they will not work with this style. I guess this is just a single use, one time and you're done. So if you have time, order yourself a transmission cooling line ahead of time. This one was, like I said, in pretty bad shape, need to be replaced anyways. Went to the auto parts store because we got to get this done today. And we got some power steering hose here, and this is for the power steering pump. It's high temperature hose. Some people use it in replacement for the transmission cooling line and have said it works just fine. If you guys have comments or thoughts on that, leave them in the comment down below. Let me know what you think. From what I've read, people have no trouble using power steering line to replace the transmission line. Yeah, this is, like I said, a thick-walled high temperature hose. Now the old radiator can come out. Yay! Good job, Sasha. Now there's a couple little parts we gotta take off of the old radiator. We gotta take this off and attach it onto our new one right there in the same spot. So go ahead and do that, okay?
Perfect.
Okay, now when we set the new radiator in here, the little feet on the bottom of it, there's a couple little studs. They're gonna go right into those little holes. You see them? Mm-hmm. Okay. All right, new radiator fit down in there nicely. We're gonna throw all the parts back in real quick. And this little brass attachment down here, we had to tighten that against the radiator as well. It was loose. And we're gonna get some double hose clamps on here. And Sasha's fighting with the new radiator hoses, right?
Yep.
Those lovely spring clamps. Yeah, we're putting new hoses on here too. It's a good time to replace those. They'll be linked in the description below, along with the new radiator and everything else. All right, there we go. We got all the little bits and pieces put back together. What was the hardest part of reassembling everything?
It was hard remembering where everything went exactly.
That's my super tip of the day. Label everything, keep track, it makes things so much easier. Now we're to the point of we're gonna fill it up with coolant, burp the system, so we're gonna run through that real quick.
I asked if you're sure if all the hoses and stuff are back in place.
But you know what? We're gonna find out right now. This'll tell us. So I'll go ahead and fill it up with coolant until it's up to the top there. Then we're gonna start the engine up. And as we're warming the engine up, we're gonna keep adding fluid to it. So we're gonna leave the cap off. We're gonna keep adding fluid as the engine warms up. So that way the thermostat opens and it can pull coolant through the radiator, get all the air bubbles out and everything. And we'll just top it off that way. And the other thing we have to do is, because we lost a little bit of transmission fluid when we were changing out those terrible transmission lines, we have to top off our ATF plus 4 with the transmission. Make sure that level is full. So sweet, Soli is up and running again, and Sasha's learning so much. What do you think?
It's so much fun to do.
Yeah, little things break, but you fix them, and she's learning that. You can do that yourself and save a ton of money.
Exactly.
Thank you guys so much for watching. Appreciate your support. Check out my next video right up here. Have a good day. Yay!